Hi, welcome back to the class. Today we're going to create this 2.5D cup animation. It looks like we're looking from the top and it transitions into a front view, which looks and makes the animation much more interesting than just regular front view animation where you can just move left and right. This one gives you the option to move it from the top view as well. Similar to the top view, you can try to go with a little bit under view as well if you want to. But there's so many different possibilities you can work with this kind of animation. There's nothing for you guys to download it, so make sure you open up the After Effects and let's get started. As you can see, this only consists of just this shape layer and solid layers. Because we're only using the strokes and fills in order to represent this. Alright, so let's get started. First thing first, create new composition. We'll call this one cup animation. 1280 by 720, and all those rest of these settings is going to stay same. Let's first create a circle. So let's go to the shape tool, click and hold it, select the ellipse tool, get rid of the fill, we don't want the fill. Stroke, we want to have the strokes a solid color with white, and we'll put 4 for the stroke. I'm just going to click and drag and hold on to shift so I can make a perfect circle. Let's open up the ellipse. Let's first rename this one. Cup top. Open up the ellipse path, and on the size, just make sure these two numbers are correct. We'll keep it to 350 just for the sake of it. We don't want the decimals. Alright, that's all. Let's come down to the size and then again move it to the 1 second. Keyframe it, unchain it, move it to 2 seconds, and y-axis we're going to keep it to 0. So we have this A to B animation. Basically we're shrinking it in terms of the height, but you can already tell how it's going to behave later on. Alright, that's done for this part. Let's deselect this layer, go to the pen tool, move it to 2 seconds first of all. We want the side view of this cup. Let's click, shift click, and click this one. So you'll have a base of this cup. But notice how it's uneven on the left and the right hand side. Don't worry. Use the selection tool, and then adjust it so you have even amount of space on the left and right. Alright, once you have it, open up, before you open it up, right click, rename it, we'll say cup bottom. Open up the contents, open up the shape, open up the path, move it to 2 seconds where it is at, keyframe the path, move it to the first keyframe of the top cup, and keyframe it. And what you want to do is we want to change the color to red so we can actually see it. Now it gets a little bit tricky because we now have to convert this linear line into a curvature line. Use a pen tool. So click one of the point while holding down the Alt if you're using the window, or Option if you're using the Mac. Click and drag it. It's going to give you this curvature line. Curvature line. Click and drag. Oops. Make sure you're not closing the loop. Like that. I deselected and selected again. Alright, once you have that, click and move it. Click and move it. adjust the anchor, adjust the position. This one takes a little bit of the time, but it's worth it if we make it perfect. It will make the circle a lot smoother. Right, so mine is totally overlapping. So we'll change back the color to white. And this will look like this. They will slowly turn into this one because we are keyframing each of the path points. That part is done. I actually have to move this one up a little. They look a little bit offset, so I'll just move to the right. There you go. Alright, let's work on the handle on the right hand side. Deselect it from this from this side view. Top view is for the later. Click, 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 and click. Same thing for this one. Right click, rename, handle. Open this one up. Contents, shape, path. Keyframe first for the 2 second. Move to the 1 second. Keyframe it. Now, using the selection tool, move this one first, and then using the pen tool, hold down to the Alt single click. That's going to turn that into a linear line. Remember, if you hold on to the Alt and click and drag it, it made a curve, but now we're trying to make a linear line like that. So it will turn into this line later on. Okay, so far so good, right? There's nothing really tricky about this. Alright, now we have to create the coffee inside. Let's go with the circle. Click and drag and hold on to shift. And while you're holding down the shift, you can hold on spacebar to relocate this. And there you go. That's good. And I'm going to get rid of the stroke. Actually, we need the stroke, sorry. But we need to first get the fill color first. And we're going to copy this, Command C or Control C, and put it to the stroke. There you go. Alright, so this one again, we'll do this. Ellipse path. Right click on the name. Coffee tab. You know what? Make it simple. C tab. Unchained the size. Keyframe both sides. And for the second one, we want to make this one into 0 for the 2 second. But notice how now this one sits on the top. So we have to make sure, come down to the position, move it, and move it down. Oops. I forgot that you just had to move Y position here. If you do just the keyboard arrow, it's going to move the layer, which is this one. So you just have to move the ellipse path. So make sure you do that. But notice how now this has a little bit of a problem. This sits on top of the circle. So now we have to rearrange it. So this C top needs to go all the way to the bottom. Now this one sits all the way in the back. We're going to do the same thing for the bottom portion of the coffee. Move it to the side view. Use the pen tool. Click, click, shift click, and click. This one too. Right click, rename, C, bottom. Open up the contents, open up the shape 1 and the path. Make sure you keyframe from the 2 second first. Move it to the 1 second. Keyframe it, and using the pen tool, click. You know what? you don't even need to use the pen tool because we're just going to hide underneath. So you can use the selection tool, select both two points, and just make it into a linear line. This will give us enough time for this coffee to animate it so that it comes down. And this one again, you used to put it all the way at the bottom. There you go. Now it kind of plays like this. Nice, it's working like how you want to move. This, I just gotta adjust a little because it's a little bit offset and it's actually bothering me a little. There you go. I think I moved the entire layer. I'll go fix the layer with the pen tool, but that's how it looks as of right now. Alright, then what we can do with the background. Background, we can literally do the same idea, same concept. So layer new, solid. I don't really care which color. I'm going to use the fill to look out for the color that we want. Use the fill, and it's just a table. I want to go with a little bit darker tone like that. At the top, we can keep like that, but as it comes out, I want to cut it somewhere over here. Right click on this one, we'll call this one table. Come down to the scale, keyframe it 1 second, unchain this, use the pen behind tool to move this anchor to the all the way to the bottom, and come down to the 2 second and adjust the Y axis. So it will look something like this. Alright, last but not least, layer new solid. We just want to apply the general, the wall tone. Come on, go down. There you go. This, I want to keep it somewhat bright, like that. Alright, so that's how everything is working. Cool. Let's hit U. That's going to only show the keyframes. Layer new, null object. We'll call this one a controller. We'll select handle and order to the coffee bottom and change the parent and link to the controller. We'll use the controller, hit P for the position, keyframe this one, and 1 second and keyframe it. 0 second, we'll move this one out of the frame. And as it comes in, it will make a nice transition. Cool, it's nice and simple, but now you guys know how to create something that's in 2.5D. It's not technically 3D, it's still 2D, but that mimics a 3D look. That's what we call a 2.5. So if you guys up until this point, you guys can go ahead and render this file. Again, if you have any other question, let me know. Feel free to reach me out through the email. Hope you guys have fun, and I'll see you in the next class.